we screen share? Uh, share. Oops. Hello. I am. Oops. Let me not show this that. Uh, there we go. I'm Romina De La Torre, and I did my project on OSCO, the group OSCO. What slash who were OSCO? OSCO was an art collective that started around the 1970s, which is around the time of the Vietnam War and ended and tapered off kind of in like the 1980s. OSCO itself means repulsion, nauseating, something that makes you sick, which is the initial public reaction to the public that had one of their first shows. They also chose the word, or they more or less thought about the word for their group because of how their friends, which were coming up in body bags because of the Vietnam War, how that made them feel. It made them feel repulsed. As for core members and the ones that will be discussed in this particular, um, I'm so sorry. As core members and the ones that we just discussed are Harry Gamboa Jr., Glugio, Gronk, Nicandro, Willie Heron, and Patsy Valdez. Okay, let me move myself here. Gamboa was born in East Los Angeles with four of the siblings, and in the area he lived in, and describes the area he lived in as one of poverty, violence, and racial conflict. He succeeded academically and organized many political movements, including, I believe, the blowout that happened during like the 70s in Garfield High School, and wanted to attend California State University, Los Angeles. Gamboa was important to the Chicano movement because of his involvement with OSCO as one of the core members and went against the grain of the main Chicano art movements during the period. He's also important beyond OSCO because he's a famous photographer, and his one of his works that we um, did did an assignment on, which was Chicano Mail Unbounded, and several other works that he has all over the world. Nicandro was Nicandro was born to Mexican American parents and primarily raised by his mother. He is influenced by foreign film that he went to go see in Santa Monica and his artistic uncle, who he wanted to draw like, and didn't attend any college beyond some classes in ELAC. Uh, Giulio Nicaro was one of the core members. The four we're covering here are the core members of OSCO. And he did a lot of the costume making and the performance art for the group. He was important because of his involvement with OSCO. Beyond his involvement with OSCO, Nicandro founded Lace, which was it's still around the same time, 1977 was still the same time that he was in OSCO. So it's not too beyond, but it's it's OSCO. It's not OSCO, so we're not going to cover Lace. And made many murals for Los Angeles and wanted to receive many rewards for theater. He was a theater kid during the period, and he didn't really fit in. Willie Heron was born in Los Angeles and doesn't really have that much of a documented childhood, so I can't assume anything if it was good or bad. We just know that he lived in Los Angeles. He was in OSCO as an important to Xicano begins with his involvement in OSCO. Outside of OSCO, he actually did a lot of different things. Like he was a muralist. He is a muralist that has a lot of works in the works that involves graffiti. And he did one specifically because of his brother getting hurt by a rival gang. He founded a punk band. He's a co-founder of a graphic design business, I believe, or a commercial business. and he also helps what's it called? He also helps underground artists that are getting whitewashed. Patsy Valdez was born in Los Angeles and recalls a youth plagued by racism, police brutality, and poor school systems. Valdez is important to the Chicano movement because of her involvement with ASCO and its impact on Chicano culture as a whole. ASCO paved the way for the performance and counterculture mainstream art for the Chicano movement. I'm so sorry, I got tongue tied. Valdez doesn't have a lot about her. She's a painter, and a lot of her works are in Mexican American museums. But she's not to not to downplay her involvement with Osco. She just didn't have a lot of information about her outside work and how it affected Chicano culture. Why I chose Osco? I chose Osco because they're very interesting. They're the most interesting group, in my opinion. I mean, Los Four is not the same, but it's around the same in the fact that they were a group of four people and they had a woman. But Osco was more interesting to me because of their methods of getting their artwork and message out to the masses. I thought that was super cool, and they were really counterculture, and they were super avant-garde, and they did a lot of Dada. They were influenced by Dada and foreign film, and they're really experimental. So that's why I chose Osco, and that I believe is it. So thank you. Let me see if I can. Oopsie poopsie. Let me see if I can get rid of this more. There we go, it's end. I'm so sorry.